One of the number one things we're going to do is I'm going to help you, beginning today, de-identify from your small story. That alone is worth the price of admission. But de-identify from the small story that you can open to the greater story of who you really are. Secondly, we're going to clear away anything that's in the way, working tomorrow with the voice of the judge or the critic and some of the stories that get in the way and our reactions and projections. I'm going to take you through processes, not just talk at you, but take you through processes to help really clear the space. So now your old story is not gone. None of this is about getting rid of parts of you. All of it is about integrating these parts and being able to consciously make choices. That's what consciousness is about. Making choices through your own volition based on who you really are and what you want, as opposed to unconsciously by default or out of reaction. So we're going to revisit and recreate the story. We're going to clear away anything that's in the way. We're going to deepen your connection with the divine. And you can feel it. We have to stop the bleeding. We have to clear what's in the way. And now we're a more open vessel and vehicle in order to go into the deepest part of ourselves, which will then set us up for opening to a meaningful vision for your life. Like, wait a minute, if you have a dream, you want it to be bigger, you want to reach more people, and you want to monetize it, this is the place for you. I've been privileged in my life at an early age to know and discover what my life's purpose was. And I was one of the first teachers to actually teach finding your purpose, before Rick Warren and Purpose-Filled Life came out, like way, way back. And I've helped thousands of people discover their purpose. It's one of the things that I'm most proud of. I've written 14 books on how to make your dreams come true. I wrote my first book in 1993. It's called Making Your Dreams Come True. I wrote it because I had a hunch that maybe I had a message. How many of you feel like you're messengers in this room? Like everybody. How many of you feel like you're a change agent? You've come to the right place. Maybe it's our time to actually take a stand for what matters to us, what's really important to us, meaningful. When I announced to family and friends 30 years ago that I was closing my marketing and media company in the National Press Building in Washington, D.C., to move to California to start Dream University, this is the response I got. Except my mother, who said, "Oy." And my friends who said, "You used to be so credible. Do you have to call it dreaming? Can't you call it goal setting?" And although I think goal setting is really useful, I'm passionate about dreaming. And people said that I would starve trying to make a business out of helping people achieve their dreams. And Dream University is a $2 million business. Love that. Everybody wants something, right? So it's like you can turn whatever your passion is. I was on Oprah once as the passion expert, and Oprah would go out in the audience and she'd say, "So, besides your children, what are you passionate about?" And one woman's, and my job was instantly live in front of 35 million people to come up with a profitable business that she could turn her passion into. And one of the things I said is that shouldn't always be the case. Sometimes turning it into a business will kill the passion for you, so you have to watch that. But this one woman raises her hand and she says, "Well, I like hiking and cooking and Italy." And I jokingly said, "Okay, I think I see in your future like hiking tours and picnics in Tuscany." So she was a realtor. Every year I get a Christmas card from Tuscany. "When are you coming? We named a sandwich after you." Walking tours and picnics in Tuscany. So it's like what most of us do is we kill off our dreams before we explore them. We compromise the dream down to what we realistically think is possible or based on how much money we have in our checking account. Looking in your checking account for evidence of whether or not your dream is a good idea is a bad idea. It's not the place to look. The place to look is in your heart. Something matters to you and it's meaningful to you. What are you going to do about it to make it happen? Am I doing it right? I have doubts about whether I'm doing it right. How many of you have that a lot? Yeah. So then this gets turned into a personal practice of hearing from the doubter, not trying to overpower it or ignore it. Did you get what I just said? If you second guess yourself a lot, if you look for out of validation a lot, if you do a lot of Ben Franklin, should I, shouldn't I, you know how much energy you're wasting? Life force, like second guessing. So that means that you have an active doubter. Instead of thinking that it's a problem and trying to overpower it, or it's a problem and you're going to ignore it, the personal practice, remember, anytime there's a behavior you want to change or a skill you want to develop, this happens to be both. The behavior you want to be changing is not being hijacked by the doubter. The skill you want to develop is greater self-trust, which is critical to being a visionary. Come work with me at the Meaning Institute. You will develop greater self-trust, and everything changes from that place. So the personal practice is, when I'm second-guessing myself, put on the pause button, turn toward the issue. Remember I said it's counterintuitive. You want to turn away from it. Light a candle to identify you're now creating ritual space. Invite in your doubter. Let it know it's got 5 minutes. You're listening. What do you want me to know? And do either active imagination or just let it talk to you. And then you step out of that role, like we did in the cylinder demo last night so beautifully. You step out, because I'm not the doubter. It's just a part. It's just a what? It's a part. You're not it, unless you're so overly identified with it, and then you really need to do parts work in order to get, I'm not my doubter. It just happens to be what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. Some part of me needs something right now. Let me work with that part. I'm going to turn toward it. I'm going to hear what it needs, but I'm still in charge. I'm going to negotiate with it. It wanted 3 hours. It was willing to give 3 hours off. Kate had a different agenda. I want more time. I'm like, great, go negotiate. But then manage your agreements, because guess what? Out of integrity with your parts is a problem. You'll have conflicting messages. Your head will be going this way. Your body will be going that way. It's not a pretty thing, right? Your mind will be saying one thing. Your body will be saying another. You won't know what to trust. You'll be in chaos and confusion because your mind comes in really quickly. Do you know what's bigger than the mind? Consciousness. I actually learned this because I kept trying to control it and understand it and being afraid of it, and I'm going to lose my mind. Yeah, that's a good thing, actually. Not like going crazy, but from inside my overthinking and processing and confusion and trying to handle everything. Does this sound like somebody who's living a joyful, creative life? You think I look transformed from last year? It's because I actually my mind is not big enough to hold it. And when you open your heart, you can trust there's something that's holding you. And then you can relax. Then you can soften or get edgier. You have more range. 2 things will have you be more committed to your reality than to your dream. One is if you don't have a dream. If you don't have a dream, all you have is reality. But the second thing that will have you be more committed to your reality than to your dream is if you've front-loaded your worst nightmares into the dream. But what if I invest this money and I don't make any money back? But what if I move to California and nobody comes to visit me and I'm really lonely? But what if they're right and I'm wrong? This really is a bad idea. But what if I run out of money and become a bag lady and wind up on the street? And we'll just go, woo! How many of you know this place inside your own mind? Yeah. You know, we're our own best friend and our own worst enemy sometimes, right? So what we need to do is we need to stop this. We need to stop this craziness. Now, a simple technique that I learned to do is you have to separate out. Remember, I think I said to some of you that, I may have said it in the VIP, so I want to repeat this, that when we're doing this thing around parts work, see, ultimately you want to wind up as integrated and whole. Actually, you already are, right? But we're finding our way back. So the reason we do parts work, the reason I say hear from the doubter, is you actually want to turn the volume up before you turn it down. I want to hear, before I get rid of the doubter, let me get the list of obstacles. That's valuable information that I can actually do something with and feel empowered and calm that part down, right? If we modulate it back down, it'll become the realist. The realist is an important part of the team. But if I use it initially to create my vision and my dream, I'm going to compromise my dream down to be realistic. You know, it really comes down to, you know, if not you, who? And if not now, when?